Hi everyone, I'm Elodie and you are on a new Lens dev stream. This one is all about k0s and I have Jussi with me who is working on it full time. So Jussi, who are you?
Hey, nice to be on this Lens dev stream. So yeah, I'm Jussi. I'm the team lead for the k0s team here at Mirantis. Also, like in many cases, people are having many different hats on. So my hat is also like a team lead and tech lead and developer advocate and lot of different stuff. But basically, myself and my team, what we work on is fully on the kind of k0s side of things. So the k0s distro, Cosmotron, and kind of everything around k0s.
Okay, and what is k0s?
So k0s is a Kubernetes distro. Uh, how we build k0s is somewhat different than many other Kubernetes distros out there. So what we build is basically a distribution where everything, and I mean everything, is packaged as a single binary. And that's kind of where the name leads also. Basically having zero dependencies, zero friction, and those sort of things. So that's the ultimate goal for k0s.
Okay, and so you told about like the Kubernetes distro. Is it like a common term? What is it about?
And I think that the kind of easiest way to think about it is going back to the roots of Linux in general. I mean Kubernetes is mainly a Linux thing anyway. Well, Windows is sort of supported, yeah, but it's kind of it has its roots in the Linux ecosystem too. So essentially, Kubernetes distro is pretty much the same as a Linux distro. It's from conceptual point of view. So of course, if you want to run Linux, what you can do is you can go and download the Linux kernel source code and bunch of other package source codes. You can compile those and you can actually run Linux on your uh, computers. But of course, most of us don't really want to do that. I don't want to go and compile my own kernels and whatnot. So what I do when I run Linux, I use things like Ubuntu or Red Hat or something like that, which is prepackaged kernel and a lot of other things around it, of course. So a Kubernetes distro is very similar in a concept. And now in the case of k0s, what we do is we package all the Kubernetes components like the API servers and controller managers, schedulers, whatnot. We package everything as a single binary that you can basically download and then run on your Linux machines.
Okay, well, that sounds like a lot. Before we keep going with k0s, let's go back to you just a tiny bit. So, what's your background? What's your history with Lens?
Well, maybe I'll start a bit actually even things before Lens. So I've actually started in the cloud native ecosystem almost actually 10 years ago. So actually even before anything was cloud native and the whole cloud native foundation didn't even exist back then. So around that time, Docker started to well, I don't know, become popular, but at least Docker started its life back then. And back back in back in those days, I was working on a company where we built something on top of using Docker, and that's why you could also call me hard-headed, because I'm still almost 10 years later, I'm still doing similar things and working with the cloud native ecosystem. So that got me into this world of containers and then which in later on became the whole cloud native thing. that's also where my kind of roots and what led me towards Lens in general. So already back then I was working with some team members that actually created a small Finnish startup a bit later on, which I then joined. And at the startup, which was called Contena, we actually created the kind of roots of Lens back then. So I'm still working actually with the same guys in Team Lens. So we have a bit of a both personal and technical history with all of the core kind of Lens team founders.
Well, I don't know if I would call that hard-headed. I think I would call that passionate, personally. And I think it's actually very cool. Like, we've talked to Jari also, Lauri. We've talked to quite a lot of these guys that you're talking about who've been with Lens for a long time. And it says a lot about the atmosphere in a company when people want to stay that long.
Yep.
What do you think about like the growth of Lens? I mean, of the team Lens, because you went from Contena to this bigger thing that it is now.
Of course, for anything that you've been part of building, it's fantastic to see Lens what it is today. Because I mean, I still do remember some of the early discussions that hey guys, this is a slightly wild idea. Can we actually build something like this? And then fast forward a few years, and Lens is actually pretty damn big thing nowadays. So of course that's like super fantastic to see, and I think we as Finns, we don't really always appreciate what we build, and but I think that's something that we can be super proud of, that what we built together.
I agree. But I guess I'm a bit biased too, so
Yeah.
I still agree. So let's go back to k0s and to Lens, but on the technical side. Can you tell me about some special features of k0s? What is making k0s special?
I mean, of course, it's a slightly special way how we package things as a single binary. There are of course some other distros that does it in a similar ways. But we actually do have some quite unique things in k0s, and one of them being my kind of pet peeve, this control plane isolation. So what it actually means that in your like I'd say typical Kubernetes cluster, which you can spin up with tools like kubeadm or even the hard way, if you really wanna have pain in your life. What you usually have is you have control plane nodes which are actually running also containers and running the application workloads. So what we do in k0s is that in the default configuration, the control plane nodes are actually not running any containers or any of the workloads. So they are really plain controller nodes. What that actually enables is kind of like I'd say new ways of architecting your clusters, and especially when thinking on like use cases where you can push Kubernetes to kind of like different environments and maybe like edge kind of deployments and whatnot.
Okay, so we just touched a tiny bit the use cases in your last sentence. Do you have more to say about that?
Well, when we started to kind of think about the whole idea of k0s and what it could be couple of years ago, we didn't really, to be honest, we didn't have any like two specific use cases in mind that okay, we'll target only these use cases or we'll target specifically these use cases. So I think in general what we wanted to build is something that is super robust in a way that you can use it actually for any kinds of use cases, ranging from single node development environments all the way to your typical data center or cloud deployments on Amazon or Google or whatnot. and then also towards these sort of like more like edge or IoT types of use cases. But I think that the what is where the kind of I'd say where the interesting stuff is going on is actually on this kind of like edge IoT space, I'd say, and that's where really k0s kind of, I'd say, shines in a way that it has super low resource usage, especially on the plain worker nodes, and then coupled with this control plane isolation and some of the technical details how we do it, it really allows you to like push the boundaries of Kubernetes in general. So what you can do, and this is a sort of like almost real life example of a case. You could technically run the control plane, for example, on some public cloud provider, Amazon, for example, and then I can actually run the workload, the worker nodes on some bunker somewhere which is behind firewalls and nets and whatnot. So the control plane and the worker plane, they don't really have to be even on the same network as long as the worker can sort of call home one way or another.
Okay, that's actually quite exciting. Do you get lots of feedbacks from users to get all these use cases examples?
We do get quite a bit of feedback, of course. I mean, k0s is fully open source, so of course there's a community around it. Of course, we'd like the community always grow, so please join the community and then describe your use cases, what you're using k0s for, and basically let us know if there's anything we can improve to cover better your use cases. And of course, we as in Mirantis, because we are currently the main driver behind the open source project, so what we get also kind of feedback and different use cases from our customer environments. So
talking about asking the community to participate, I kind of heard that there's like at the moment people can actually fill a survey.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Is it still ongoing?
Yes, it's still ongoing. So there should is a difficult and strong assumption always, but there should be a link in the main k0s repo for that.
Okay, well, there's also a link on the forums, I happen to know somehow. And it may be reposted on the k0s Twitter. So if you don't have access to the Twitter, the link will be in the description. And now you know that you will be able to actually give your, I mean, how can I say that? Express yourself fully on how you're seeing k0s and the future of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And more feedback and community participation we get, the more better it'll be for everyone, right?
Yes, I mean, especially since I mean, you have like very diverse users, as you were saying. So yeah, the more feedback you have and the more use cases you can cover.
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, so what about Lens in all of this? How is k0s related to Lens?
So in the newer versions of Lens, people hopefully have already seen it. There's a thing called LDK, Lens Desktop Kubernetes, which is essentially kind of targeting running Kubernetes at your fingertips on your laptop for development testing purposes. I mean, of course, no one runs production on your laptop, so it's really like a development type of environment. Well, surprise, it's running k0s in it. So that's my main or my team's main kind of tie into Lens currently.
Okay, so are you yourself using LDK a lot?
Quite a bit actually. Yeah. Not for everything I do run some other stuff also locally, but I use LDK quite a bit, and then of course help out Team Lens whenever there's any issues or anything. So I do happen to know all the nitty-gritty details of the technical things behind the scenes.
LDK is a pro feature, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us more about this quickly? Or not quickly, actually, just whatever you want.
So basically how it works is I mean, of course, Kubernetes, like I said before, Kubernetes is mostly a Linux thing. So I can't run Kubernetes on my MacBook directly. So what LDK actually does, it brings up a small virtual machine where k0s and thus all the Kubernetes bits and pieces are actually running. And what I mean, of course, I could go and install some virtualization on my OS X and run Ubuntu and then install Kubernetes k0s or any other Kubernetes on that. But again, it's like more better way and an easier way for users to actually run Kubernetes on your laptop.
So if I have a Mac and I want to run Kubernetes, that's what I'm going to use?
Yep. Just download and use Lens, then go to the LDK settings or options, whatever they are called on Lens side. And then what's actually super cool also about the LDK feature is that you can create different profiles for different Kubernetes kind of instances on your laptop. So you can actually run multiple different versions of Kubernetes also with LDK. So basically you can select that okay, I want to run Kubernetes 1.27, for example, now. And then when you want to test your applications on newer Kubernetes or older Kubernetes, you can actually switch the profiles on Lens side and use different versions of Kubernetes. So that's super cool and allows easy way for the users to actually test their applications on top of different versions of Kubernetes.
Okay, is it something that you can work on with your team too?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the Lens teamwork capabilities, I can actually share my access to my local LDK cluster to a teammate that to have like collaboration and help. Someone can help you debug something on the cluster or your application and those sort of things. So that's another super neat thing.
Okay, I have a fun fact about myself and Lens. So I'm not a technical person, surprise. And actually, the very first thing I did on Lens to understand how it works was to start a LDK cluster.
Yep.
So without knowing it, I was actually working with k0s at that time.
Yep. Even though I said that the LDK is very good for like local development purposes, but I think it's also super good for kind of people new or newer into the whole Kubernetes ecosystem.
Indeed, I have to say that it was very easy. It was basically just a button and things happened.
Yeah. I mean, of course, at some point in time when you're going more and deeper into the whole world of Kubernetes, you probably need or want to know a bit better what's happening behind the scenes and those sort of things. But it's super easy to get started and then start clicking around in Lens to get the grasp of how different things relate to each other and if you do a deployment, if you do a service, how they actually come up and how they relate to each other and those sort of things. Lens and LDK makes the learning curve, how to say it nicely, not so steep. I mean, it's still Kubernetes and it's still complex, so we can't unfortunately take all the pain and complexity away, but at least in my opinion, Lens makes it more tolerable, let's put it that way.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like, as I said, with the LDK, I just had to click on one button and yeah, things happened. I didn't need to really do anything to be able to start using it.
Yeah. And then you can start poking around and learning by looking at things and those sort of things. So you don't have to read first the 1,000 page manual to even get started.
This is really nice. So to talk a bit about the k0s team, I guess you're like, I mean, we're remote here. So I guess you're also in several countries.
Yeah. We're basically pretty much scattered all around Europe currently.
How is it going working like this? Is it going fine? I mean, I know some of you guys who are here in Helsinki or in Finland, but yeah, what about the rest of the team?
I mean, I think in general everyone kind of enjoys working remotely and with all the flexibility at like what it gives. I mean, of course, remote work has its own downsides, and it would be great to meet people face to face more often and those sort of things. But I think in general, at least me personally, I really like working remotely and like you see, I'm at my home office, which is also you might see in the background. It's more like a storage room too, but.
No, don't say that.
Yeah. But I've said it actually a couple of times that I don't think there's enough money in the world that would make me to go to like 7 to 5 office job anymore nowadays.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are doing like such a great job anyway, remotely. So,
Yeah.
anyway, so talking about all of this stuff, it's time for the fun fact. Like I'm asking all of my guests about a fun fact about themselves. It can be about anything. Yari had a very fun one about learning how to code with magazines. I guess you knew about these magazines too, but
I'm also that old. Yes.
So
I think we're actually pretty much the same age with Yari. I think.
Well, that's a mystery for later.
Yeah.
So what about your fun fact?
There was a time in history where I was very serious hockey player. So not like on a real professional level, maybe not even close to it, but yeah, until my 20s I was quite serious about hockey, and then for some reason got turned into computers, and well, here we are.
Okay, but I mean, are you still playing a bit?
I'm still playing a bit, yeah, but not that much anymore, and it's more like this like what they at least in US call like beer league levels. So so yeah. But there was a time where I was quite serious about hockey, and there's actually we do have some hockey players and actual like professional hockey players in the as a distant relative. So one of my distant relatives is actually playing in NHL currently.
Oh, did you ever compete together?
No. He's that much younger than, I think he's like almost 20 years younger than I am. So.
Well, I mean, that's still better than me. I don't know how to ice skate.
We have to organize something at some point, and I'll teach you.
Well, that will be a fun fact.
Yeah, fun fact: broken arm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I hope not.
Yeah. Well, anything can happen.
No. So, do you want to add anything else about Lens, k0s, something that we didn't talk about that you want to say absolutely to the community?
My ask is that if you already haven't tried k0s, go ahead, go to either the k0sproject.io webpage or directly to GitHub k0sproject/k0s repos and try it out how it worked for your specific use cases and let us know how we can improve. And also, like mentioned earlier, check the user survey if you're you're already using k0s, and please fill it out with as much as details as you can, and that way we can make the project better for everyone and better for the community.
Yes, I'm going to repost the link for that on our social media channels so people can't miss it.
Yeah.
Superb. Well, I guess it will be time to say goodbye.
Hey, thanks for having me. Thanks for letting me share a bit of details on k0s, what it is, and how it relates to Lens. And
well, thank you very much for being here. And k0s is very popular, so it was very nice to be able to talk about it. Yeah, I mean, people are quite passionate about it, so it was very nice to talk about it. And well, I mean, as usual, all the links will be in the description. So social media, the survey, the forums, everything, because you can actually reach Jussi on the forums if you want. There is a k0s category where you can ask further questions.
Yep.
And post your own use cases. So thank you again for being here and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.